Welcome back. If you just joined us, watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories tonight. United Nations Security Council decries the level of poverty in the northeast region, says the fight against insurgency cannot be done in isolation. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says he remains optimistic that Nigeria will live up to the dreams of its founding fathers as he turns 80. The Central Bank of Nigeria orders commercial banks to process personal and basic traveling allowances within 24 hours or face sanctions. And Somalia's Prime Minister Hassan Ali Kaire says 110 people have died from a single region in the last 48 hours amid a severe drought. You can get more on our top stories and others on our websites, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. You could also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. A reminder here that having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have the Eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. The Central Bank of Nigeria has mandated all commercial banks in the country to immediately open a teller point for retail forex transactions in all locations. This directive is contained in a memo to the banks by the CBN's Director of Financial Markets Department, Alvan Ikoku. The directive, according to the CBN, is to further increase foreign exchange availability to all end users and ensure that a fair and verifiable exchange rate operates in the market. Also, the banks are mandated to have an electronic display board in all their branches showing rates of all trading currencies, while customers must insist on processing FX transactions based on the displayed rates. In addition to this, the CBN says henceforth banks must process and meet the demand for travel allowances by end users within 24 hours of such application if the end users meet basic requirements already outlined in earlier directives. For school fees and medical bills, the banks have 48 hours to meet customers' demands. The Apex Bank says non-compliance by any bank will attract sanctions, which may include, but not limited to, being barred from all future CBN foreign exchange interventions. Meanwhile, the federal government has successfully completed a 100-unit housing estate in Imo State under the ministerial pilot scheme to tackle housing needs in many states across the federation. At the commissioning of the 100 housing units in Owerri, the Imo State capital, the Minister of State for Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Shehuri, says the federal government will continue to strive in ensuring that the challenge of housing deficit in the country is surmounted.
Nigeria's housing deficit is put at 17 million units, a challenge that has given government concern, and they say they are trying all means to bridge the gap. One of the projects designed to reduce the deficit is this 100 units of housing estate built in Nas Industrial Estate layout in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The Minister of State for Housing is present to commission and inspect the project. After the tour of the project, he tells these audience that the federal government is committed in overcoming the challenges of housing deficit in the country, and disclosing that government plans to build mass housing units for public workers.
This would translate into affordability of housing for Nigerians and will also create employment opportunities for key youth that are currently running the streets. It is gratifying to state that the 100 housing units being commissioned today are equipped with basic amenities required for a decent life. May I also add that the developer has done a good job. I pray that the beneficiaries will make good use of the facilities to ensure The accomplishment of the lofty objectives for which huge expenditures were incurred.
Applauding the federal government for the initiative, the Deputy Governor of Imo State, Eze Madumare, says the project will go a long way in complementing the state government's policies in providing affordable housing units for workers in the state.
I'm highly elected to be here today during this commissioning ceremony of this housing estate built for mass and mid-income earners who are contributing to the National Housing Fund. I'm particularly happy that at least the Federal Mortgage Bank has started a process of implementing the scheme. For years has been on without effective participation by Imo State workers.
Imo State is not the only state to benefit from this project. The federal government is promising that the project will spread to other states of the Federation.
Staying with housing and accommodation, providing luxurious but affordable housing for her members has always been the objective of the Shell Staff Investment and Thrift Society Limited, KUPLAG. That dream has been realized with the commissioning of 168 housing units at the KUPLAG Gardens estate in Lekki, Lagos. Facilities in the estate include a football pitch, volleyball court, lawn tennis court, swimming pool, gymnasium, clubhouse, creche, many supermarkets, and many meeting rooms.
168 housing units, all ready for members of the Shell Staff Investment and Thrift Society Limited, also known as KUPLAG, at the KUPLAG Gardens Estate, Lafiaji, Lekki in Lagos. The president of KUPLAG speaks on the facilities in the estate, which includes a football pitch, volleyball court, lawn tennis court, swimming pool, gymnasium, clubhouse, creche, mini supermarket, and meeting rooms.
We want our members to live in a cozy environment where, from the hustle and bustle of Lagos, so having worked so hard through the day, when you come home, you should feel relaxed, have a well-ventilated environment, away from traffic or noise, and above all, even when you retire, you can settle in here because we have facilities that will engage you.
Commending the society for the achievement, the managing director of the Federal Mortgage Bank thanks the members for contributing diligently to the National Housing Fund. And it has a special announcement.
The Federal Mortgage Bank is also in partnership with the Lagos State government to develop residential housing in an area of about 1,000 hectares already earmarked for that purpose. As a major stakeholder in this project, Federal Mortgage Bank is ready to assist interested housing cooperatives who are contributing to the National Housing Fund to obtain land from the Lagos State government for this purpose.
The Federal Director of Cooperatives also expresses delight at the quality of the estate and wants other cooperatives to borrow relief from KUPLAG.
This is an example of what a cooperative should be. And I know others will emulate you.
For the beneficiaries, they will be relishing the day the keys are presented and life in the new homes begin.
Let's move on to the southeast now. Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State has challenged indigents of the state to team up with the government in its efforts to develop the state. At a special Thanksgiving service organized by the Anambra State Townspeople Association, the governor said Anambra is the safest state in the country at the moment, and there is need for indigents to contribute to its infrastructural developments. He encourages Anambra residents in the Federal Capital Territory to remember their roots while contributing to the development of the nation's capital.
It's celebration time for indigents of Anambra State, resident in Abuja, as Governor Willie Obiano joins them to offer thanks to God for the progress being recorded in the state. Governor Obiano gives reasons why indigents of the state need to deploy their wealth in developing the state.
Anambra
have opened the lips and mouth. We are today the safest state in Nigeria. We are doing very well in education. We are doing well in agriculture.
The Archbishop of Abuja used the occasion to condemn the activities of armed herdsmen in Nigeria, saying the culture of moving around the country with animals is no longer sustainable.
The challenges facing our nation are indeed many. Violence and insecurity still fill many hearts with fear and anxiety. Despite the very commendable efforts of the security forces, for which our government deserves real commendation, sporadic incidents of terrorist attacks in the northeast make it not yet possible for many people to return to their long-abandoned homes and villages.
The governors of Plateau and Imo, who joined Governor Obiano in the Thanksgiving service, admonished Nigerians to work for the peace of the nation.
My message is to pray for Nigeria, pray for peace in the world, especially peace.
Christianity has never taught us to hate. In fact, Christianity has taught us to absorb everything that comes to us.
The Thanksgiving service attracted several dignitaries, including a former Senate President, Senator David Mark, Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonna Onu, former Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Mrs. Pauline Talon, and prominent Nigerians from the southeast, resident in Abuja.
Residents of the Dogorua community in Abaji Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory are complaining about the lack of proper primary health care facilities and clean water in their community. Residents rely on quacks at a hospital and medical facilities worth millions of naira under the MDG project was abandoned since 2011. Our correspondent Gloria Omezoke investigates.
Dogorua, a community of nearly 12,000 people from different ethnic groups. It is not the only community in Abaji Area Council that seems far away from the main town. Evelyn Timothy, a 32-year-old mother of 3, is among the residents desperate for help. Her only daughter is sick, and the lack of healthcare facility in the community is a huge challenge. Suleiman Gambo explains that several years ago, medical facilities were brought into the community under the Millennium Development Goal Project by the government, only to dash all hope few months later.
2010-11, that's when they started the project. And up to date, they couldn't complete it. Like the other quarter sites, already they are receiving roof that they've put all this rafter of planks, and later on termites and all insects finish it. So in fact, we try to talk, we have contact with the MDD, the Den. We are talking to them, they say they are coming, they look for the contractor, all sorts of excuses. At the end, there is abundant.
Government did not give us hospital. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We have problems of water, then hospital.
Special Assistant to the President on SDG says it is looking to complete the affected projects.
What we try to do is to own the project, because everything done under Millennium Development Goals still roll over to sustainable development. And we are trying to own the project, complete the abandoned ones, the one that has not been completed, we complete it and put them in use. Those that have been completed, we look at it. If it meets the standard, then we'll put it in use.
Health is of particular concern in Dogorua, exacerbated by a lack of clean water. Owing to the long distance, water vendors fetch and sell each keg of water for 25 naira.
This village, it is 20-something years. As common as we know there for this village, everybody for this Dogorua entirely, it never benefits government.
Children are often responsible for getting water for their families. They mainly go at night because there are fewer people. It is hard to imagine life without sufficient quantities of clean water, but in some parts of Abuja, particularly here in Abaji, it's becoming more than a disturbing reality. The management of scarce water resources has become an increasing challenge. Faces of children that say everything without speaking a single word. Clean water is all they need. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
When the News at 10 returns, our community report tonight takes a look at 3 communities in Rivers State who are at loggerheads with the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company over power supply. Do join us again.